So you're going to PAX Unplugged in just over a week's time and want to know what games you should be checking out. Well, I'm sort of the gamer that doesn't look for the heaviest of games, but hopefully ones that are going to be full of fun. And if that sort of matches up with what you're after, let's jump into the list and have a look at games that you should be checking out. For this list, I'm going to be using Board Game Geek so you can have a look at some pictures. Now, the first game I think should be checked out is this cool, quirky dexterity game called Hamster Roll. It's been out for a while, but 25th Century Games are just about to bring it over to America. So this maybe is your first chance to see this absolutely weird and wonderful balancing game, as you are literally putting things around this hamster wheel so it may roll and you just don't want things to fall. It looks like a fun one that you should demo and maybe even take home with you from the event. Next up, another dexterity game. This is Tasso Banana, and this quirky sort of game, well, it basically sees you placing these bananas down, and if you can balance it so that your banana is exactly on top of two other bananas, you get to go again, and you're trying to play all your bananas. It sounds bananas, but it also sounds like it's a lot of fun. I mean, just look at the bananas. It's going to draw attention and it will definitely sort of lighten the mood when you get this game out. I can see it being a lot of casual fun. So that's Tasso Banana. I'm a huge fan of games that are going to hit the table and play and have fun in a short period of time. Mostly because I don't necessarily always have time for long, expansive games. And Rail Line apparently plays in 15 to 30 minutes, which is a real good sweet spot for me. Now, this is a game all about playing cards, and you're just lining these tracks up and trying to sort of get from A to B, moving things up from one level to another from what I can ascertain. It's one that I would definitely go and have a look at because it looks quirky and it looks super simple, but just a fun, maybe clever card game with these sort of 3 tracks that are crisscrossing and you follow the route along. I like the idea of that, not entirely sure other than it looks pretty obvious that you're trying to maybe link wood to a sawmill, that sort of logic, a customer to a station. I don't know much more than that, but it looks cool. I mean, wouldn't you want to have a go at playing with these cards? I don't know what the game's going to be like, but I'd definitely take a look at this one. There's been some really good reviews coming out about Monkey Palace, and Lego games, they used to be a thing. They went out of almost fashion for a long period of time. They were super sort of like kid friendly. Apparently, while this one is family friendly, there is a bit more to it. Not necessarily a brain burny one, but oh, you are placing down these Lego pieces onto the board, kind of as you'd see in the image there, and like this is a great image to show it off. You're creating these structures on your turn by playing cards, you're gaining points for them, and there's a monkey, a Lego monkey involved. I like the idea of bringing Lego games back, and it does sound like it's not just a roll a dice or something like that style game. There's some, well, coolness to it, that's for sure. So I'd definitely be checking this one out. Maybe you'll find it's for you. So I'm a sucker for something that builds up a region, tiles, placement patterns, and, well, Confusing Lands seems to tick that sort of box, and it has a 10-minute playtime and a really quirky sort of look to it. Look at these sort of, it's an interesting art style, but also it looks fairly intuitive what's going on in terms of some of the point scoring things here. You can see straight away over here, oh no, it's rotated, but you're going to get some points depending on those types of things that it's next to and stuff like that. I like the idea of it. I like the sort of quirky artwork. Look at the deer there, the little houses, the river. I like all of that sort of look. The overlapping cards, that's a cool thing that certain other games have done. So I'd definitely be taking a look at Confusing Lands. And also, I believe there is actually going to be a micro expansion or something else, a promo available at PAX Unplugged for this one. Another game that's been getting a lot of buzz and also will have like a promo or an extra pack available at PAX Unplugged is Compile. I think this got a decent review from Shut Up and Sit Down, and it also sounds very similar to Air, Land and Sea, or even like Marvel's Snap if you've played that on your mobile telephone. The idea is that you're trying to get these locations in the middle by playing cards, but these all seem to have different pretty cool effects and strengths. It seems like maybe a step up from Air, Land and Sea, although whether that is actually the case I don't know, but it looks very unique and I'd definitely be wanting to play this one just to get the vibes of it. It's also a really small box, so one, if you buy it, you could put it in your backpack and you're not having to worry about lugging a big box home with you. Lairs is a game I actually interviewed one of the team that's behind this game on the channel recently, so I'll link to that interview. But also, it's a really cool sounding two-player game where you are not only setting up your own dungeon, you are trying to go through your opponent's dungeon and sort of you're trying to almost get the gems and loot out of theirs while there's monsters and traps set up, but you're also setting up traps and monsters in your own one to capture them. I really like that sort of double aspect, you both getting to do both fun parts, the exploring and the building, and I'd definitely be checking this one out. It doesn't hurt that it also looks really cool as well. So I'd 100% be having a look at this, and a reminder, there is an interview about this game on the channel. Would it be a convention list of mine without an Oink game that looks kind of cool? Probably not. Well, Souvenirs from Venice is one of their new ones from what I can ascertain, and while it does involve dice rolling, I do find often the Oink games use a common mechanism and maybe have a twist on it, so I wouldn't let that put you off. And in this, it's a set collection-y style game, and well, it looks like you're trying to collect these different souvenirs, sets of these different souvenirs from around Venice as it's sort of laid out on the table in front of you. I like the idea of it, and it, well, again, it's one of those ones that looks interesting on the table. Certainly if I was walking past, I'd stop and have a look at this one. Let me know in the comment section below, do you like Oink games? They're always a little bit quirky, right? One of the heavier games on my list is Tea Garden, and well, we all have time now and again for a medium, maybe a bit more sort of game. It's pushing just below a 3 weight on Board Game Geek, so it's going to get your noggin going a little bit, and it just looks fantastic. It really is the production, the artwork, and the colourful vibes that are really drawing me into this one. Look at some of these components. Look at the main board. It's so colourful. It looks like maybe there's some sort of area majority stuff going on. You're trying, like, there's a thing down the river, so there's a route to push along. I like those sorts of things in games. And like I say, it's probably one of the heavier ones on this list, but one I definitely want to check out because it looks stunning. A few years ago, My Shelfie was released, and now there's My Shelfie the Dice game. I'm, again, a sucker for quick, sort of speedy games, and therefore taking a game that's not roll and write, turning it into one normally takes a little bit of time off. Adds in, yes, some randomness from dice, but it looks cool and quirky, just like the original. And you've got those cats, you've got games, and that sort of goodness. It's one that I definitely go and play at the event because it won't take up too much of your time to actually play a game of this, but it looks really fun and captures maybe the original game in a shorter period of time. So let's just see, it's a 20-minute playtime. That's not much time to get a demo in at the event if it is there possible to demo. Definitely go and take a look at this one. The OP, or the OP, doesn't necessarily always have the most gamery games, but first of all, it's Avatar, and not the blue people on some weird future sci-fi planet. No, this is the last Airbender Avatar, and it's a game based upon like the Harry Potter or the Toy Story cooperative deck building games. It looks like it's got all of the sort of people you'd want in it. especially upper, yip yip, and all that sort of goodness. It looks like you've got plenty of people you're going up against, Iroh, Zuko, and then you've got some of the others, or even items brought in there with the cards you're going to be doing the deck building with. Like, come on, it's one of those co-op ones set in the Avatar-y sort of world with boxes that's going to unlock stuff. Water, earth, fire. Come on, it's got to be kind of cool. I definitely want to maybe see if they're showing off like the first game. I wouldn't want spoilers past that, but I definitely want to give this one a look at the convention. Rajas of the Ganges is a really cool dice placement, like worker placement style game. It's just a bit too big for me to get to the table time and time again these days, just for life. But a card, flip and write style quick game. They did a dice one a few years back, and that was like a dice game of a dice game, and that was kind of cool. And I'd be interested to see what they do with this iteration of it. It's got a 30 to 45 minute playtime, and I'm assuming it will have some bits where you can do combos and you'll want different cards. Certainly in the original Rajas of the Ganges, it's a game based on dice, but sometimes a 6 isn't always best, and that was a really cool feature of that game, and I'd just be very intrigued to give this one a go. That's the Rajas of the Ganges Cards and Karma standalone game. Crossbows and Catapults. It's restoration games and just a fun, quirky looking sort of experience. Now there is another game on the market, and the name is slipping my mind, that it looks very similar for, but you are going to be launching things at something that someone else has built. Someone is building out of these castle pieces and some men. You've built your castle here, and then someone is using a trebuchet or a catapult or a massive ballistery thing to fire discs at it to take it down. That seems pretty fun, right? Say no more. It's one that I definitely go and play if it's out and about on like demoable, just to give it a bit of a go straight away, because it seems fun. There's a number of duo games going to be at the event. There's a King of Tokyo one and a few others apparently, but the one that I think really would capture me out of all of them would be, I'd go and have a look at Everdell Duo. I liked the normal Everdell game, and well, if they've managed to sort of streamline this down to 30 minutes. It plays with 1 to 2 players, which is interesting. You could solo this. I just like the idea of it, and more Everdell, but without sort of a huge amount of expansions in just a small box. Yeah, I think that would hit the table for me, and maybe it would for you as well. So I definitely go and look and have a try and ascertain how much of Everdell does it feel like still, versus how much have they sort of had to cut to make it a 2-player duo game. I feel like normal Everdell played well at 2, but so did, say, Splendor, and they did a cool spin on it. So I'd like to see what they've done with this one, and like I say, if it captures Everdell in a small box for 2 players, yeah, it would probably make its way onto my shelf. And last but not least, yes, it's going to be taking place in December, which means it's perfectly acceptable to go Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. And Boop the Halls is a new version of Boop with a Christmassy theme. You're even going up a Christmas tree, and what more could you want? I haven't played this, obviously, yet, and why would I? It's November when I'm recording this, and it's a Christmas-themed game, so you have to play it in December. But I like the idea that they have taken a rather popular game that's already had like a Halloween version and stuff, and made a Christmas version. It looks cool, it looks like a fun twist. I definitely want to be playing this one, because PAX Unplugged is in December, so Christmas is fair game. And well, that wraps up the list for PAX Unplugged. It's going to be taking place in December 6th to 8th in Philadelphia, so if you're there, hopefully some of these games you'll be excited by, and you can go and check them out. Comment below what you're going to be sort of checking out first, be it on this list or not. What have I missed off for other people that will be attending the event? And until next time, please check out other news, reviews, and all that sort of goodness on Don't Be Bored. Subscribe, all that jazz. And until next time, have a fantastic PAX Unplugged.